Hi, Parima. Thank you for your next essays. Now, let's look at the line graph about rainfall in England first. The graph shows the amount of rainfall from January to December from 3 different countries in 2018. I wouldn't say they're quite different countries. They're parts of the UK, and I would say right? So you might want to rethink the 3 different countries. It is interesting to see that during the first 4 months of the graph, I would use the word for, and I wouldn't say the months of the graph, perhaps depicted on the graph or represented on the graph. The rainfall in, not of, England, Scotland, and Wales fluctuated significantly every month. Okay. Month repetition, maybe we could say this in other words. However, in the middle of the year, from May to July, Scotland experienced a gradual rise in the, I wouldn't say a number, no, amount of rainfall. Linking word needed here. You can say, yet in the final quarter of the year, it is also clear that Wales had a very low quantity, you can also say quantity, of rainfall, and in order not to repeat yourself, you can say precipitation, particularly in September and October. Across 2018, England and Scotland began with a very high amount of rainfall at more than 100 millimeters. Yes, it's millimeters, not milliliters, exactly. While Wales took off at only 50 millimeters. I wouldn't use the phrasal verb in any of the academic task answers because it is not really appropriate. You can say, you can use a more formal equivalent. For example, while Wales registered at an incipient 50 millimeters. Well, incipient shows the beginning, right, the takeoff. Then in February, in the amount of rainfall, I think we are repeating ourselves, amount of rainfall. You can say again, the quantity of rain, or yes, just another way, not amount of rainfall, dropped dramatically to the lowest of the graph. I would say to the lowest point of the graph at this much, whereas England and Wales climbed up gradually. Okay, I wouldn't use up, I would say climbed, yeah, and I would say whereas England and Wales, whereas the values for England and Wales climb gradually. The values climb, not the countries. Finally, England, Scotland, and Wales revealed the number of rainfall. I wouldn't use reveal, no. What can we say here? Registered, we said this before. You can say experienced, I cannot say close. You really have to find another way of saying this because the values are not similar. So you would have to find a way to explain why you're putting all these values together. After demonstrating, perhaps showing fluctuations, or after fluctuating, you can even say after fluctuating during the middle of the year, in the middle of the year. You need to rephrase this and find a way to say this in other words and give yourself a good reason why you're putting these values together. Overall, England was the country where the quantity of rainfall, or where the amount of rain revealed the least differences between each month in 2018. However, each country experienced a vast fluctuation that is difficult to distinguish the nature of the graph. I am not sure what you mean here. I mean, I can't even approximate. It's not clear. You have good highlights, you have good comparisons. It starts being a bit difficult to understand what's happening in this part of the description, but you got me lost completely here. But anyway, this is a nice answer. Just mind my remarks. And now the essay about extended business hours for shops. Experts from both the developing and developed world have debated whether extending business hours of shops is beneficial or unnecessary for the countries has grown in importance for several years. Wait, I lost something, right? There's something odd in the language. The sentence is nice, the idea is nice, but something needs to be fixed in terms of grammar. Have debated whether extending business hours of shops is beneficial or unnecessary. Okay, if you say that they have debated whether doing this or that is beneficial or unnecessary, whether extending is beneficial or unnecessary, I would say for the country's economies, and has grown in importance. I know what the problem is here. If you take this sentence, it needs a noun subject. What has grown in importance? Probably the discussion, right? The debate. Yet, what you say here is that the experts have debated or have been debating. I would even say have been debating, right? To show the ongoing debate. But you cannot say this because this is a verb. You cannot follow this by the fact that it has grown in importance. But you can do this. You can put a full stop and say, this discussion has grown in importance for several years. Some believe that it benefits it. What is this it? No. That such an extension benefits workers in terms of their income. So I cannot type everything. So from now on, I will mostly comment verbally, right? Because otherwise it will take me a lot of time. Yet I personally disagree. Nice. This essay will discuss the disadvantages of extending shop hours by using examples from the American government and statistics from International Energy Organization. If this is an international organization, perhaps you could capitalize it like this. I'm not sure. I've never heard of this one. Does it exist, or is this a personal invention for the sake of providing an example, a well-looking example? I don't know, so I can't judge. But typically, an organization like this would have the words of its name capitalized. There's ample evidence that the quality of workers' lives, and you probably mean plural, is decreasing due to the extension of business hours of shops. Okay, this is a very big statement. This means their lives are becoming worse. Let's see. The central reason behind this is that when stores need to operate longer, workers need to perform longer too. I wouldn't say I like the idea in the sentence, but I think we could say it slightly differently. The central reason behind this is the fact that longer operating hours for stores imply an extension of the work schedule for the employees, something like this. You cannot really say perform longer. They're not actors to perform. This means that their personal time with family, children, no kids in essays, and friends will dwindle. No, you don't need the passive, dwindle. I like the way you use dwindle instead of fall or drop. You can also say diminish, because dwindle is a bit more specific, and it's not always appropriate for the time. Moreover, it is usually seen that those people who work in the nighttime shops, or in night shifts, okay, tend to be tiresome and moody the next day. Not tiresome, but tired. Tiresome means making other people tired. Okay, I wouldn't say it is, I would say it can be. Okay, because they did not have enough rest. True. For example, recent empirical research by the American government demonstrated that 50% of workers who work till 10 or 11 p.m., you don't need the period, usually arrive home at midnight. This means, uh, for the sake of being more convincing, I would say, which means that they probably end up, again, no phrasal verbs in academic essays. They probably sleep only 6 hours, again, maybe in words would be better, before preparing themselves for the next working day. Or you can say are left to sleep, right? Not end up. It must not be forgotten that although working extra time provides a bonus amount of money, a bonus for the workers themselves, these wages were unable to compare with their family or sleeping time. I understand what you mean, but you need to rephrase this. You can say the value of this money earned cannot be compared with the value of spending time with family or simply rest time. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that extending more business hours, extending shops' business hours, is a positive effect. Wait, you are contradicting yourself. Here, you said that this is not good, and the whole paragraph argues that if shops work longer, people work longer, they don't have enough rest, they don't spend time with family, and here you say it has a positive effect. Are you sure you mean this? You're contradicting yourself big time. Furthermore, even though there is a case in some cities that shops need to be open or need to stay open for a longer period of time because of the economic growth or for economic, is it because or for the purpose? I'm not sure. Not sure. The tremendous impact of energy usage cannot be overstated. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean here. From the very first sentence, it looks like you mean that there's a great impact in terms of the use of electricity, but it's not clear whether this is a positive or negative impact, because tremendous means extremely big, but it can work with both negative and positive adjectives. So what do you mean? You can say the tremendously negative impact of energy usage. So this is ambiguous, and we don't need ambiguous, we need clarity. So perhaps you could add a bit of clarity to this sentence. This is largely because when shops continue to operate during nighttime, they use a vast amount of electricity, not light. They use a vast amount of electricity for lighting and air conditioning. You mean this, right? You mean electricity. In fact, some stores are even open for 24 hours, which only a very, I wouldn't say obviously, which only a very small number of people would visit after midnight. Okay, and I think a linking word or expression should be here. According to the International Energy Organization, yes, and this is where we need to capitalize, some dynamic cities like Bangkok or Tokyo are displaying, I would say, an excessive usage of electricity at night and considered to be are considered to be passive here, passive. Not going to do it, you can do it yourself, are considered to be some of the highest energy consumers in the world, right? Because the cities are considered to be something or someone. This is personified a bit. So consumption is the fact that they consume. Consequently, it is possible to say beyond doubt that increasing business time of shops will be a significant drawback toward energy efficiency. Not what did we have? Issue. No, it's not about issue, it's about efficiency. I really like your example. Really like your example, but you need to explain a bit clearer what you mean in this first topic sentence, because I can only guess what you mean. It is clear from the rest of the paragraph, but it shouldn't be this way. The topic sentence has to be crystal clear. From argument and example given, I firmly believe that the increase in the business hours of shops may provide extra money to workers and show that the cities are rising in the economic factor. I wouldn't say show. They may provide extra money to workers. I wouldn't say provide extra money, perhaps lead to extra profit or extra income. And let's say rephrase this and say something along the lines of, and increase the economic welfare of cities, something like this. Not show. It doesn't show. It contributes to, and contribute to the city's rising economies. Nevertheless, it is more important to focus on the quality of workers' lives, workers plural here, as I corrected before, and the utilization of energy. You say that it's important to focus, but you're not saying why. So here you have to rephrase the main argument that you have given in the body paragraph, because your arguments are great. Just don't contradict yourself here, as I said. But other than that, this is a very, very nice conclusion. So you have great ideas, but sometimes your wording or your grammar is a bit confusing. You have to add a couple of words to make sure that your sentences are grammatical and using the vocabulary that you have appropriately. And remember, most importantly of all, do not contradict yourself at the end of a body paragraph, and make sure that you summarize and revisit the main arguments that you brought in the body paragraphs. But other than that, you have very nice ideas. Remember the errors in the first task, and looking forward to the rewritten essays and more great essays. All the best of luck.